Well, firstly, congratulations on this wonderful accolade, Rose. It's such a great, you're surrounded by fantastic names and past talent. I mean, that sort of leads me into my first question, really. I mean, there are some incredible names on the list of past BAFTA Breakthrough stars. You must be so thrilled to be joining such a wonderful collection of excellent British talent.
Yes, yes, definitely. I feel very, very excited to get involved and in the creative people. They're so talented, and to meet people, and I'm very excited to be on that list. How incredible is that?
Do you remember where you were when you found out you were a BAFTA Breakthrough star?
Yeah, I was at home and I was resting and I was watching TV. And then I thought, oh, I haven't checked my email, so I need to check my email. So I looked through and I was like, oh, that looks like a BAFTA. What's that one? And I clicked on it. I was like, oh yeah. So I sent it to my agent, and then I told my mum.
Yeah.
And then I went in like to tell her. And then I went at home and I have work really early in the next day. So I was like, so I just made myself a hot chocolate. I was like, yeah. You know,
You've always got to celebrate good news with a hot chocolate. That's just a rule. Yeah.
Hot chocolate celebration.
Because I always find we often don't get like praised in life. Sometimes praise comes when you just don't hear anything. Usually not hearing something means you did a decent job, otherwise you would have been let know. So is it just nice sometimes to win something like this and just get that kind of validation, I suppose, just to be told, you know, things are going well, and someone sort of let you know that's the case?
Yeah, it's really nice to have that, because I feel like it's an honour to be given this, and it's an honour to be seen in that, talented enough to have that, to be in that position.
Yeah. And one thing I've always loved about the BAFTA Breakthrough is how it celebrates all departments, not just those in front of the camera. And I think something audience members can take for granted is the kind of diligent work that goes on behind the scenes. Is that something that really took you away when you first went onto a set?
Yeah, 100%. I feel like the work isn't just in front of the camera, it's also behind the camera. And I think that is the most important work, especially with the writer in the very early stage, because that's what I'm passionate about, is more diversity, but also more opportunity for deaf and disabled actors. Because the thing is, it needs to be thought about in a much earlier stage, so that writers to sort of think about it. Because at the moment, sometimes I go to audition and and it's already been written and it's never a deaf character. And they say, have you ever thought maybe having that who happen to be deaf? But only small change. But because it's an audition, it's such a short notice, it's like 2 weeks later and you start filming. And you start filming it. And then so it's like, so it needs to be much earlier, and it'd be much more richer story, much more life experience, and having people involved. So this is a great opportunity, not just to meet people in front of the camera, but behind the camera. Meeting writer, meeting casting director, meeting director. Yeah, it's exciting.
Because I mean, your name is often side by side with the word inspirational, and I mean that's incredibly true, especially for young sort of deaf boys and girls. And it seems to be a responsibility you've really taken on, one you really thrive in. How important is it to be that kind of beacon of light and success to the next generation and prove that anything is possible?
Yeah, yes, and it does. It's a blessing, but it's also a bit of a curse at the same time too. Because it's a blessing, because I got all these opportunities, people actually listen to what I'm saying, and I've given a chance for deaf children to have someone to look up to. And I'm excited to see what they're going to do now, because they've seen someone like me. I didn't have that. But then it's also come with a bit of a pressure, because I feel like sometimes I want to do things for myself. I want to act. I just want to be creative and do what I love to do. But in the back of my mind, I feel like I need to be a spokesperson. I need to make changes. I feel I can't climb the ladder without leaving the ladder behind. Do you know what I mean? That climbing the ladder I want to do stuff for myself, but I can't just take the ladder with me. I got to be able to set up something for the next generation, the next deaf and disabled talent, but that comes with pressure.
Yeah. I mean, there has been such a remarkable kind of couple of years for you. I mean, going from EastEnders to Strictly to everything kind of to the BAFTA Breakthrough, everything kind of in between. Have you had a moment to just take a step back and just take it all in? Or is it kind of, I guess it gets a bit like a whirlwind at times.
Yeah, I try to every day. I try to. I've been so busy. But do you know what? I've gone back to theatre and doing Shakespeare, and I got my routine. And not like the same routine with the same group of people every day. I haven't had that for quite a long time. And I think now I am actually starting to thinking, because it's like the dust have just settled. And then I've been creative and learning Shakespeare, getting my Swede in my brain. I'm getting soup and getting a bus. And I think that's when I'm like, oh, what just happened to me?
How much have you enjoyed doing Shakespeare? Was this something you sort of used to sort of do and sort of when you were back at school and stuff?
Well, no, interestingly at school, they never really encouraged me to look at Shakespeare. It was more so basically I had to study English a lot. My grammar wasn't right. My writing isn't right. The way I speak isn't right. So, and then they thought Shakespeare might be too difficult for me. But sometimes there's a phase that I always believe in. Yeah, there's a poem that is describe what it's like for a deaf child growing up and always having to be trained to being taught that you need to correct in this, you need to do this. But sometimes it's not about that. Sometimes it's about being creative and creative writing, encouraging that. But maybe it's different nowadays. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, anyone who thought that Shakespeare was too hard for you just needs to take a look at you now doing it on stage. So.
And I'm planning Shakespeare.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's cool. Because I watched I just wanted to go back because obviously looking back at some of the other sort of highlights of your career. Of course, there is EastEnders. I remember I watched the Neighbours finale recently, and I saw the huge stars that went back to shoot that episode, having made their name on the soap, and it made me realise what a wonderful kind of stomping ground soap operas can be for talent, and how many brilliant actors pass through the likes of Albert Square. I just wondered what you have learned from that experience, what you'll be taking away from you from your time on EastEnders.
In the centre, I think I noticed in theatre, I learned my lines very quickly. That definitely will stay with me for life. Also, I learned how to work with the camera. So with the microphone, I know how big the screen is, because when the microphone is close to my head, I know it's close up. But when it's really far from my head, I know it's in a wide shot. I would never pick that up if it wasn't for the centre.
And just quickly to talk about you being on stage, do you ever get nervous still on stage being in front of loads of people? Is this something that you just kind of get used to with time?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I always get that little bit bold moment, and then I have to sort of push for it, and then I do it, and then once I warm up, I actually really love it.
And I sort of mentioned before about you being such a big inspiration to people. I wonder, who was your kind of biggest inspiration when you were growing up?
Well, obviously, like I said, I didn't have anyone that to look up on TV. But I do love Audrey Hepburn. Audrey Hepburn, she was my inspirational because she was just so cool, and she just be herself, and she just naturally just do what she wants, and I like that. But then I also got inspiration from Dolly Parton.
Yeah.
Because I love how she is. Her song, she's so like feminist, she's such a strong, and she's really believing to stand up for what she believes in, but she does it in a really fun way. And yeah, and she keep her private life so private. It's such a mystery. That's what I'm keeping my private life very private because of Dolly Parton.
I saw Dolly Parton at Glastonbury, and it was honestly one of the best afternoons of my life. So much fun.
I want to see her live. I've never seen her live. So
good. But did you always want to act since you were young? Was that something that you wanted to do from a very young age, would you say?
No, it happened by accident, because when I was young, I always loved art. I loved painting and art. But at school, to be doing performance, you have to sing and you have to dance. It was always for the popular kid, and I was not popular at school at all. So it never really occurred to my mind. And then there was a deaf event for a weekend, and it's a filming event. And I thought maybe I could do filming because I thought maybe I could do animation. And I absolutely hate filming. So they asked me, why don't you be in front of a camera? And because it was such a safe environment, I just fell in love with it.
So my final question, I'm going to wonder at what point did you go, hang on, I'm an actor? Because I think there's that tricky period with young actors when they're kind of doing little bits here and there, characters here and there, maybe working other jobs to kind of supplement their career. And from friends and family, I know it took them years before maybe that one project came around that made them go, hang on a minute, I am an actor. And if someone asks me what I do, I can say I'm an actor. Do you remember when that moment was for you?
I still got that moment. I haven't got that moment yet. I feel like I'm an actor. Oh, okay. Yeah. I feel like I just push myself to do it. Hope for the best, and I do my best. But I haven't had a moment where I'm an actor. Not yet. I still haven't.
Well, you're definitely an actor, and you're also a BAFTA Breakthrough stars. It's been a remarkable year. Congratulations again, and best of luck with everything you've got coming up.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey You Guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yeah.
Nice.
Hey You Guys!